Hi everyone, and welcome back today. Today is a very exciting day. We are actually not doing story time on Tuesday, but we will be back tomorrow with some stories. But today we're taking a very special trip with a Zoom meeting to a very special place that's actually pretty close to you that you can visit on your own. But today we are going to go to the National Aviary and we're going to talk to someone about a penguin, and I'm very excited. We're going to meet Disco the penguin. But before we get to do that, go ahead and chime in if you would like and say hello, and we'll see who's here. I'll see that someplace there. Nope. Yep. So, yeah, go ahead and send in your names. And if you have any questions as we go along and we're talking with our friend at the National Aviary, you can go ahead and send those questions in, and then I will ask them for you. And we will find out about a penguin. So let's go ahead and go live now. We're going to meet with our friend Jamie at the National Aquarium. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Christian.
Sorry. I misspoke. I said aquarium. Hi, Jamie at the Aviary. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to see everybody today. Hope you're all doing well as well. With me today is Disco, one of 18 African penguins we have here at the National Aviary.
Wow.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Disco.
There's a total of 18 species of penguins on our planet. A lot of people are surprised to find out that penguins can live where it's warm. Of those 18, only 4 can be found where it's cold all year round. The vast majority of the rest of the penguins live in what we would call a temperate area, a hot summer and a cold winter, much like the climate we have here. All 18 penguins, though, I should say, are in the southern hemisphere. So there's no penguins at the North Pole. There's no penguins in Alaska. And as far as I know, the only penguin from Nova Scotia is still Sidney Crosby.
Wow. So most of the penguins enjoy all types of weather then, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
Cool. So Disco, that's an interesting name. What are some of the other names of his friends?
So Disco is actually one of several penguins that have hatched right here at the National Aviary. So here at the aviary, living with him is his sister, Mary Beth, his other sister, Trivy. He has a brother named Caden that also lives here. And he has a close friend who lives next door to him named Slippy that all live right here at the National Aviary. And his mom and dad are Sydney and Betty. And they all, like I said, live here in our African penguin colony.
Oh, those are all great names. So can you tell me some things about our friend here? What does Disco like to eat?
So Disco is an African penguin, and all penguins...
That is
so all
penguins
are... Yeah, right?
That made me a little excited.
That is what we call a bray.
It's like a donkey.
And that is how penguins communicate with each other. So they can make that noise to get somebody's attention, to say, hey, nice to meet you, which is what I'm sure he's doing right now. Yeah. Or to say, hey, this is my spot over here. But yeah, so anyway, he is an African penguin. All penguins, regardless of where they're from, love to eat fish. So what I'm feeding him today in my little pouch, is what the glove is for, is raw fish. I have little cut up pieces of capelin, sardines, anchovies, and herring. A lot of different fish that you and I like to eat as well. Every adaptation that he has is built to help him catch these fish in the water. So as we know, penguins do not fly in the sky. We like to say here that they do fly underwater. If you take a look, you will notice that he has a beautiful wing right here on display. When they're in the water and swimming, they will flap those wings up and down, just like other birds who are flying in the sky. He's got a nice long beak with a hook on the end of it for catching and grabbing his fish. Believe it or not, these birds spend 16 hours a day in the water looking for their meals. So basically, instead of getting up and getting ready for school, you would jump in the ocean and you would swim. You would eat your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, and any snacks while you were in the water swimming looking for that food. Now, he does have, I don't know if you can see them on camera, very large webbed feet. And unlike a duck or a goose who will use those feet to paddle, to propel themselves, he uses his only to steer to move through the water. My favorite adaptation of his, though, is his eyes. I don't know how many of our viewers out there today like to swim. A lot of people like to put goggles on, and you'll notice that penguins do not stop to adjust their goggles before they jump in the ocean. The reason why is his goggles are built right into his eyes. So he has eyelids like you and me to close his eyes and go to sleep. But there's a third eyelid called a nictitating membrane that's crystal clear that he can close over so he can see underwater.
Oh, okay. That probably comes in very helpful for him when he's going hunting for fish.
Absolutely.
So, and how many times a day does he like to eat? Or does he eat?
So in the wild, African penguins will eat throughout the day as soon as they can catch fish. Here at the National Aviary, he gets 2 really big meals a day where we hand feed him his food. I'm going to give him very excited. I'm going to give him a piece of fish right now for you guys. So I cut these nice and small to make them easier for him to eat. So whoops. So I don't know how easy that is to see, but I do want to point out that penguins swallow their food whole. They do not chew their food, so it goes right down as soon as they catch it.
Oh, cool. He seems to know that's where the food is there.
Absolutely.
He's done this before. Let's just say hi to our friends here. Hi, Lydia. Hi, Everly. Thanks for coming to join us today. If you guys have any questions about the penguins, go ahead and send in those questions here. Is there anything interesting habits or things that this penguin likes to do?
So penguins actually do have one thing that's particularly interesting. As I just mentioned, penguins love to swim. They spend most of their day in the water. They will get up on land to sleep and to build their nest and lay their eggs. And what's really interesting about African penguins in particular is they live on these beautiful rocky sandy beaches up and down the coast of southern Africa. You'll find them in South Africa, Namibia, and the surrounding islands. So these beaches are gorgeous, but if you've ever built a sandcastle, you know you can't just get that sand to stay together. So what African penguins will do is they'll collect the rocks and the sand, and there's no delicate way to put this. Guano, or a science word for bird poo, is a very important element in helping them create their nests. You'll have thousands of birds on this beach, makes the sand into kind of like a clay that they can then clump it together. It also has the added benefit of helping the nest stay nice and cool in the hot African summers, about 90 degrees, and the overnight cool in the winter, which can get down to 30 or 40 degrees.
Oh, well, just to make sure I followed that correctly. So the bird poop makes the nest and it keeps it cool and warm?
Yes. It basically helps turn the sand into a clay pot, if you will, so that they are able to, I guess, conduct the heat a little bit better to make sure that the birds stay nice and safe and healthy.
Oh. So how many how many eggs would they lay at a time?
That is a great question. So in the wild, African penguins in general, usually lay 1 to 2 eggs. When those babies hatch, mom and dad both take turns. In fact, you cannot tell a boy penguin from a girl penguin just by looking. They look the same, sound the same, eat the same foods, and they both take care of the nest. Now, of course, mom is going to lay that egg, but dad actually sits first while mom goes and gets herself a meal. They'll take turns for about 38 days until the egg hatches, and then continue to take turns until that baby's about 3 or 4 weeks old. Once that happens, the baby by that point is so big that mom and dad alone can't feed those kids. They have to go hunt together. What these baby penguins then do is join what we call a creche, a group of young penguins all hanging out together with maybe a few adult penguins looking out for them. Kind of think of it like school, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, when the babies are about 2 months old, they'll head out to sea and begin their journey to become grown-up, full-fledged penguins. They typically won't hit their adulthood until they're about 2 years old or so, but they're out and on their own at about 2 months of age, as teenagers, if you will. So what we do here at the aviary, though, is we don't really have room for a creche of all those young penguins. And because we want our birds to be ambassadors like my friend Disco here, we will actually help raise them from the age of 3 weeks on. So he's very chatty here today. You see him kind of trying to fix my shirt and talking to me. Yeah. He actually thinks I am a very funny-looking blue penguin who carries fish where we go. So that's why he is so comfortable hanging out here. Okay. I also want to point out he has a name tag here on his wing. I mentioned before you can't tell the boys and girls apart just by looking. So what we do is a DNA test of either eggshell or some feathers. All of our little boy penguins get that name tag on the right wing. All of our little girl penguins get the name tag on the left wing. So when you come to visit the aviary, you can tell who's a boy and who's a girl based on what wing that name tag is on. I like to tell everybody to think left ladies. Don't know who's a boy, who's a girl.
Oh, well, that's a good point for when my friends may come visit the aviary, that they will be able to remember that the left wing is for the girl birds and the right wing is for the boy birds. We have a couple questions that just came in. Well, I have a question first. How old is our friend Disco there?
You know what? I didn't tell you, did I? Disco is about 6 years old, so he is full grown.
Okay.
So this is the biggest he will get. Might be hard to see on camera there, so he's a little over 2 feet tall, and it may surprise you to find out he weighs around 10 or 11 pounds.
Okay. We have a question to come in. Are they on the endangered species list? And if so, how is the aviary helping them?
What an amazing question. So the answer is unfortunately yes, they are on the endangered species list. There's only about 40,000 of these birds left, 40,000 pairs, pardon me, of these birds left in the wild. They are on pace to actually be extinct in the wild by 2050. So what the National Aviary does to help these birds is we participate in a program called SAVE, which stands for Saving Animals from Extinction. Nice and easy to remember, right? And part of that program, there's a number of things we do. First of all, we participate in a breeding program to help protect these penguins. Believe it or not, there is a family tree for every penguin who lives in North America. And the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, the AZA, matches those birds up based on who they are or are not related to in hopes of keeping a diverse group of penguins living in zoos. Now, the other things we'll do are, there's a number of those. We lead this organization SAFE, and we help about 200 zoos across North America work on a number of projects that range from the improvement of oil spill response protocols. One of the biggest threats you guys face is oil spills, and even the implementation of artificial nests. So one of the issues these birds face is habitat loss. Part of that is the guano we talked about before makes a great fertilizer. And before we knew that it was important to the penguins, we took it from a lot of the beaches that these birds live on. So what they need now are these new nests to live in. And what the AZA did with the National Aviary's help is they looked at creating artificial nests that would be good for these penguins to replace them. They tested out about 3 different prototypes in zoos, including here at the National Aviary. And the one that worked the best, that got the seal of approval from some of Disco's friends out here in Penguin Point, is actually being used in the wild now to help with these African penguins. I think about 80% of those nests were in use when they checked on them last year. So that is definitely a good thing. Another thing the National Aviary is able to do is we obviously send a lot of donations that our visitors like you guys give to us. There's a big penguin piggy bank here in the middle of the aviary when you visit. Anything that goes in there goes right to SANCOG. And lastly, we're able to, when there's not a pandemic, send staff to SANCOG, the Southern African Foundation for the Conservation of Coastal Birds, to help raise young penguins and get them back into the wild to help replenish their homes. I know that was a lot.
No, hey, that was we wanted the information there. So that's really good. Yeah, I love how he knows exactly where the fish is.
Absolutely.
And, we have another question. Someone wants to know, what is the penguin's predator in the wild?
So African penguins have 3 main predators that all live in the water. You have sharks, leopard seals, and orca whales, which of course we all know as the killer whale. In order to evade those predators, he's obviously going to be an excellent swimmer. But I want to point out something else a lot of people might not know. Penguins are black and white for a reason. This dark back blends in well with the shadows on the bottom of the ocean. Believe it or not, that white belly helps them stay hidden as the predators look up and see the clouds of the sky up above. So this is a type of camouflage we call counter shading that'll help keep him hidden not only from his predators, but anything he may want to eat. These yummy fish I'm feeding him in the wild will not hang around if they know there are penguins nearby. So that camouflage is important.
Tell us one more time for that. What was that word again? Counter, for what was that called?
Counter shading.
Yes.
Counter shading, yes.
Oh, okay. Let's see, predators in the wild. Okay, cool. He's so well behaved there. That's can you tell us a little more about the aviary? About if our friends want to come visit the aviary?
Yeah, absolutely. So the National Aviary is located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you've ever been here, we're only a few blocks from both sports stadiums, and actually we are right across the block from the Pittsburgh Children's Museum, so you can make a whole day out of it if you wanted to. Anyway, we are home to more than 500 birds, ranging 150 different species of birds here at the National Aviary. Every continent except for Antarctica is represented. The African penguins are obviously here. We are home to 3 two-toed Linnaeus. Let's try that again. 3 Linnaeus two-toed sloths, pardon me. And the world's largest bat species, the Malayan flying fox. So it's a great place to come, walk through some beautiful rooms. My personal favorite, and we talked about this a little earlier, my personal favorite is our tropical forest, where you walk in and the birds are all around you, above you, below you, and on either side. You don't have to worry. They'll stay up nice and high so they won't get too close, but it's a great way to view these birds in a very natural habitat.
You say you have a flying fox, is that correct? Is that what you just said?
Yes, Malayan flying foxes. They're one of the largest bat species in the world. And I know when people hear bats, they sometimes will go, oh no? Yeah. These bats are adorable. They have very adorable faces, big ears, large eyes, and cute little snouts.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that it was a bat because, people had that misconception, and I think they're really actually cute. They got like a little dog face almost.
Absolutely, and bats, regardless of where they're from, I just want to put this in, are incredibly important to our environment.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? You can go ahead and send them in. If not, Jamie, do you have any other interesting things to share with us about Disco there?
So, like I said, Disco here, he is about 6 years old. This particular species in the wild can live to be about 15 to 20 years old. Our oldest penguin here at the National Aviary is Stanley. He'll be 20 years old in September. Wow. But under human care, like here at the aviary where they have no predators, guaranteed meals every day, it's healthy food every day, and an amazing vet care program, these birds can live much longer. The oldest African penguin on record is currently in its mid-40s, believe it or not. Wow. Like I said, our oldest is about 20, so we expect our guys to be with us for quite a while. So hopefully you guys will all get a chance to come down and see Disco, his family, and all of his friends here at Penguin Point at the National Aviary.
Is there any way that if people came to visit, they'd be able to tell who Disco is, or just by the? I know he'll have a band on his right wing. Is there any other way people could say, "Oh, look, there's Disco"?
So you can tell our penguins apart by obviously the name tags, like you mentioned. But each penguin, I can see if I can get him to turn around for you guys. Every penguin has their own unique freckle patterns on their chest, just like people. So I don't know if you can see his chest right now.
Yeah.
But the way I know it's Disco is these 2 little dots right here on the left side of his chest. Is how I know that that's Disco, the penguin I meet.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm sure you've been there long enough. You probably recognize all the penguins just at a glance there.
I won't lie to you. I know 5 of them on a glance. Okay. But our lead penguin trainer, Chris, he knows everybody, whether they're name tags or not. And they all have different individual personalities. Disco and his little sister, Sunshine, who I forgot to mention earlier, are very social birds who usually see Sunshine in the pool greeting our guests as they walk by Penguin Point.
Oh, okay. So they're very friendly. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? Hi, Lucy, Ella. Thank you for coming to see us today. I'm trying to think if I have any other questions for you, too. But the interesting thing about the aviary is that it is in Pittsburgh, which is it's less than 2 hours from Fairmont, where we are broadcasting now. So a lot of you can go and visit the National Aviary. And it's interesting that the National Aviary is in Pittsburgh because the National Zoo is in Washington, D.C., and the National Aquarium is in Baltimore, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
But it's great to get out and you can support these things. So back to Disco there. Let's see. So does he do anything unique? Or if you mentioned his sister likes to greet people when they swim by. Does Disco do anything funny or makes him stand out?
Well, like I said, Disco is very fond of being around his favorite trainers. And I would say he is definitely our most chatty penguin. I don't know if you can hear him now.
I can, yes.
So yeah, he's usually our noisiest penguin. I would say that for sure.
Is that happy noises?
Yes, those are all happy noises. So the noises you hear him making right now, that's him saying to me that he is super glad that we get to hang out together and that we can, him and I don't have to socially distance today. So he's very excited about it.
Yeah. We do have another question that just came in. Does the aviary offer a meet and greet in person? Can they meet the penguins?
Meet and greet in person. So we have a number of encounters where you can get up close and personal with these birds. We have a junior penguin encounter that we do every day at 11:30, pardon me. And we have our adult penguin encounter. That would be everybody ages 6 and up that we do at also at 11:30 and again at 2:30. And finally, we have twice a day penguin feedings that our visitors can come and participate in. And those occur at 11 o'clock and 4 o'clock.
Okay. And I know there's a lot of other different birds that they can see there as well. I know I was there sometime last year, but they had a toucan encounter that would fly to you.
Yeah, so we had an Arsari encounter that we did with the COVID restrictions. We're not doing that right now, but we still have a lot of bird shows. We have a number of other encounters like our falcon encounters, our owl encounters, where you can actually come and meet the birds, and we'll put them on a glove for you to hold those birds as well. It's a really great way to get up close and personal. If you visit our website, www.aviary.org, you'll find a lot more information on those encounters, including age ranges and prices.
All right, thank you so much. I think a lot of our guests are interested in having encounters of their own there. Is there any final things that you would like to tell us about Disco or the aviary or penguins in general?
Well, we did just celebrate World Penguin Day. That was yesterday. Like I said, this particular species of penguin is a critically endangered species. So some of the best ways that you guys can help is by visiting zoos, visiting your local library, reading about these penguins, learning as much as you possibly can about them. And of course, just being mindful of certain things that we like to eat. For instance, one of the big threats these birds face is overfishing. So if you download the Seafood Watch app on your cell phone, it's free. This is if you're a big fish eater. When you go to the restaurant, just reference that app. It'll let you know if you're buying sustainable fish, which is good, or fish that might not be as sustainable, because we want to make sure we're leaving enough fish in the ocean for Disco's friends to make sure they can get enough to eat as well. The aviary is open 10 to 5 every day, except for Tuesdays currently. And we have a lot of programs going on every single day. So please check our website and come in to visit us. We do special events on weekends as well, and brunches.
Wow. Right. Oh, great. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really enjoyed this. If you have any more last-minute questions, go ahead and send them in. If not, we're going to wrap up here. But thank you so much, Jamie and Disco. So all our friends, you can go to the aviary, and you can see Disco in person and all his brothers and sisters, and all the other birds that they have there, and a sloth, and some other surprises along the way there. But I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll tell penguin stories. But until then, once again, thank you so much for being good listeners. Thank you so much for letting me share this time with you today. Time's a very valuable thing, and thank you for sharing it with us today. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.
Thanks a lot. Bye.